We will bring down their decaying empire, and the children of the Horned Rat shall inherit the ruins. I will see that it is Clan MORS that emerges preeminent from this extermination. Finish them quickly. Go to help the others complete the task they will not be able to finish on their own. Clan MORS must look strong. Clan MORS must be victorious. From Lord Nordwell, the Warlord of Clan MORS. Clan MORS is one of the most powerful of the Warlord clans, ruled by the equally ruthless Lord Nordwell. Due to recent victories and prodigious expansion, Clan MORS is very near to matching Clan Eshin, Pestilence, Mulder, and even Skryre in sheer power and influence. Together, the four great clans might easily crush MORS, much as they have destroyed other upstart clans in the past. Yet MORS continues to flaunt its power, and none are certain why the great clans have failed to act as they are expected to. The SKAVEN of MORS are uncharacteristically united as one, and exhibit a loyalty to their leaders unheard of in SKAVEN society. Even those SKAVEN who have been conscripted into MORS from less fortunate clans are soon heard voicing praises to Nordwell and his staff. None are certain if this loyalty is a result of sorcery most foul, as of yet undiscovered drugs, or the product of something else that has yet to be discovered. Like any of the lesser clans, MORS covets a place amongst the great clans. Warlord Nordwell has made it very clear that he believes he is the one to lead all SKAVEN to their inevitable victory over the surface world and its furless inhabitants. Given his continued success and prowess in battle, perhaps he is correct. The other clans are hesitant to accede to his call for an invasion of the world above, citing that the time is not yet ripe for another invasion. Nordwell dismisses such reasons as pitiful excuses, but he is hesitant to throw away his recently gained ascension to the Council of 13. So he bides his time until his place is somewhat stronger in the council. He is instead content to rest on his laurels for the time being, basking in the plentiful adoration of his troops. Warlord Nordwell, the mastermind behind Clan MORS's unbridled success and the unquestioned master of the City of Pillars, now sits upon the Council of 13. His ruthless methods have resulted in the deaths of many of his rivals, as well as the outright destruction of at least 6 lesser clans. With these triumphs, Nordwell has increased the wealth and power of Clan MORS to unprecedented levels. The SKAVEN of defeated clans have increased MORS's military strength, not to mention its labor force, and conquered strongholds across the Under Empire proudly fly their banners. Rumors have spread that the great clans live in fear of Nordwell's sinister reputation. Many great SKAVEN have been struck down as a result of the Warlord's schemes, and there is no telling what he will do if he is forced to defend his clan's newfound prestige. Even if Nordwell himself were to be assassinated, any one of a number of his subordinates would likely rise to usurp his position. Given the effectiveness of the clan's battle strategies to date, it would be foolish to assume it would crumble if Nordwell were to be killed. Clan MORS has yet to prove its value to the Lords of Decay, though it will indeed have an opportunity to do so if Warlord Nordwell has his way. The Council itself is not yet sure how to best employ Clan MORS, and discussions between individual council members have been heated on this topic for some time. It is no secret that Skryre wishes to see MORS destroyed, a sentiment Clan Mulder has dismissed on many occasions. Pestilence, which was in a similar position to MORS at one time, has yet to make a determination. Eshin, of course, keeps its own council regarding the upstart clan. Of the Lords of Decay, it seems only the Seer Lord has lent his support to Clan MORS. The unity exhibited by MORS's members, which is an obvious factor in its recent successes, intrigues the Seer Lord. If the methods by which Nordwell guarantees the loyalty and stability of his clanmates can be discovered, then perhaps the Great Ascendancy will become reality. After all, it is the duty of the Grey Seers to keep the SKAVEN united as a race, and Nordwell has obviously seen some success in keeping his own forces in line. And now, on to Clan MORS's military. The clan employs a variety of techniques, from the tried and true ways of slaves and clan rats to the mysterious assassinations employed by their trained killers. Perhaps their strongest asset is their use of poisons, for which they are famous throughout the Under Empire. Still, the tactics of Clan MORS are hard to predict, because their greatest strength is their rapid adaptation to the situation at hand. Unlike the great clans, they are not heavily invested in or beholden to any one particular method of war or weapon of choice, and that versatility is a notable asset among the often single-minded SKAVEN. In battle, MORS has proven to be unrelenting, brutal, and merciless in the extreme. Forces that are put to field against the clan are often wiped out to the last lowly clan rat. Clans that have faced MORS's troops in the past suffered from poor morale, largely due to the merciless reputation of their foes. By comparison, units that surrender straight away are shown quarter and isolated until their clan has been soundly defeated, at which time they are incorporated into the ranks of MORS's clan rat slaves. SKAVEN of defeated clans who show promise are elevated to positions of responsibility after they have proved themselves to be trustworthy. Nordwell feels only those SKAVEN who are deserving of servitude be consigned to the ranks of the slaves, while those with something to offer Clan MORS should be used appropriately. While betrayal and backstabbing are still ever-present factors within the ranks of Clan MORS, they are viewed as methods for deserving SKAVEN to advance the agenda of the clan as a whole. For example, the murder of a superior that actively aids the success of Clan MORS is akin to treason. If the shift in power is beneficial to the clan, however, the murderer is lauded as a true patriot. Warlord Nordwell, also known as the Supreme and Merciless War King Tyrant General, is the current ruler of Clan MORS and a member of the Council of 13. I have seen the horned rat with my own eyes, you petty creature, and he does not suffer favorites. From Nordwell, before having Grey Seer Razzle thrown down the steps of his tower. Warlord Nordwell has ruled his clan since the time of its meteoric rise to power, having eliminated several of his closest rivals to obtain such a position. He achieved this through countless assassinations, deceit, and at times outright war, earning Clan MORS the fearful respect of the other clans. In one surprise attack, the water supply of a rival was tainted with a foul contagion purchased from Clan Pestilence. Warlord Nordwell marched with his clan rats into his rival's domain, trampling over countless poisoned corpses and slaughtering those few who survived to claim the labyrinthine warren for his own. Clan MORS has had a great influx of new slaves and gained significant wealth from its sudden rise in status. So much so that it is almost strong enough to rival the 4 greater clans from its stronghold in Karak 8 Peaks, the City of Pillars. This mighty warlord lives within a tall tower rising over multiple layers of cellars and burrows at the heart of the Clan MORS quarter of SKAVEN Blight. The gate to the tower's under palace is protected by a small army of black-furred storm vermin. They are among the most elite and fearless of their kind, larger and more imposing than even the famed Red Guards. An incredibly old SKAVEN, kept alive by the vats of life-giving fluids bought from Clan Skryre at great expense, there is still nothing to betray Nordwell's vast age. He is physically imposing, strongly muscled and barrel-chested, larger than even his protege, Queek Headtaker. He might live like a seer, surrounded by his stolen knowledge. He might be dressed in robes of the finest quality cloth, scavenged from the world above, fitted to his form by expert slave tailors in the warrens of Skavenblight, but he still moves like a warrior, yet has the mind of a cold, calculating killer. Occasionally, Nordwell will call back his favored warlord, Queek, to examine the Skaven's progress. Submission does not come easily to the head-taker, however, and Queek hates the fact that he must prostrate himself before his master. He is confident, or perhaps arrogant enough, to believe that he can kill Nordwell, despite the other's great strength and experience. Part of him wants to, very much. But he has not yet made an attempt, as something always stops him from trying. A caution that tells Queek he might be wrong, that Nordwell would slaughter him as easily as he would a man-thing whelp. Warlord Queek Head-Taker is the legendary and much-feared lord of the City of Pillars, great warlord of Clan MORS, and the personal right claw of Warlord Nordwell, the one and true Grand Ruler of Clan MORS. Queek has been groomed by Nordwell from the moment of his birth to be the ultimate warrior, provided with the best armor and weapons, protecting him from the other Lords of Decay, and also staging assassination attempts to keep him on his toes. Queek is an uncommonly bloodthirsty and egotistical warrior whose need to conquer even the most impossible challenges has since earned him an infamy amongst the annals of Skaven history as the legendary Head-Taker, the Dwarf Smiter, the greatest warlord to have ever graced the tunnels of Skavendom. Queek's temper is infamous amongst both his enemies and allies, having fought, defeated, and survived almost every challenge that was thrown against him. Upon his trophy rack are the heads of all those that have challenged Queek in the past, such as the head of King Krug Ironhand of Karak Draj, Warlord Ikit Scratch of Festa Spike, Warlord Sleek Sharp Wit of Clan MORS, and the hand of Baron Albrecht Kraus of Avaland, amongst other noteworthy challenges. Within his power base underneath the once majestic stronghold of Karak 8 Peaks, Queek had been fighting a never-ending war of attrition against the battle-hardened dwarf armies of King Belegar Ironhammer and the greenskin hordes of Warlord Skarsnik. A powerful warrior in his own right, Queek's deeds have since garnered him the respect of the orcs, the fears of the goblins, and the eternal hatred of the dwarves. Queek, like many Skaven before him, was born onto this world within the many breeding pits owned by the burly warriors of Clan MORS. Queek's litter was born large and black-furred, a sign that these Skaven would grow up to be true killers within the violent and unstable society of their clan. However, Queek was by far the largest of his lot, and in time, he eventually devoured his own brothers even before he opened his eyes or fully grew out his fur. Seeing great potential within Queek, Warlord Nordwell personally took Queek under his wing and trained him extensively to be his new protege. As such, Queek was given the finest luxury that can be afforded by a SKAVEN of such high status. He was given the best food, the greatest arms and armor, and was hand-reared by Nordwell personally to become the ultimate warrior. When Queek grew to be 4 years old, the young SKAVEN had arisen swiftly through the ranks and earned himself a string of victories to his name. The majority of Queek's exploits have always been in the tunnels, lairs, and caves beneath the surface of the World's Edge Mountains. The Warlord's fame grew exponentially as word of his deeds and conquests spread across the length of the Under Empire. His first major exploit was his daring attacks against the Greenskin stronghold of Black Crag, where he personally slew Big Boss Morglum Blacktooth in combat. Morglum would later become Queek's first trophy amongst the many that would follow. It is said that the severed orc head whispered instructions on how to find Dwarf Gouger, an ancient magical spike maul forged during the time of the Goblin Wars many centuries ago. At the time, Queek was still a mere chieftain, but it was widely believed that he led the attacks that claimed the Night Goblin lairs near the ruins of Black Crag for the glory of Clan MORS. Having first pick of the spoils, Queek took Dwarf Gouger as his own signature weapon. Queek would later lead another assault against Warlord Ikid Scratch and the traitors of Festa Spike, demonstrating a greater degree of his otherwise inept cunning. Queek was able to trick Warlord Ikit into thinning his battle line, just as Queek personally led the spearhead straight into the heart of Festa Spike. The head of Ikid Scratch would later be placed upon another spike of Queek's growing trophy rack. Thanks to his many deeds and growing infamy, Queek would later be promoted by Lord Nordwell, replacing the once also legendary sleek, sharp wit as the new SKAVEN warlord of the City of Pillars. For many years afterwards, Queek fought a never-ending war of attrition against the armies of King Belegar and the hordes of Warlord Skarsnik. Queek would later make another appearance upon the SKAVEN assault against the dwarfs of Karak Unkul, where he was convinced by the deviously cunning Grey Seer Thankwall to attack the dwarf hold while it was left undefended. Queek and his army attacked without any major opposition until he was blocked by a newly assembled army in the next upper deeps. Queek, not taking failure so lightly, forced Thankwall to summon forth Vermin Lord Vektik into this plane of existence to help him win this battle. The ritual ended in utter failure, as instead of summoning forth a Vermin Lord, Thankwall summoned the bloodthirster Scarbrand. Even for a warrior as fearless as Queek, The Warlord could not even face such a monster, let alone kill it, and instead called it quits and hastily left the battlefield. His latest exploits include Queek being given command of an invasion horde of nearly 100,000 strong, a force meant to destroy the great stores of powerful runic weapons within the armories of Karak Azul. Needless to say, despite the best efforts of the old and grizzled warlord Sleek Sharpwit and the deviously pious Grey Seer Razzle, Queek's headstrong nature resulted in a disastrous defeat. Yet out of the clutches of defeat, the deviously cunning Sleek Sharpwit managed to string a series of events to his own benefit, leading Queek towards Black Crag, where he hoped to instigate a war between the orcs and the dwarfs of Karak Azul. It was from there that Queek not only battled and survived an encounter with the legendary Gorfang Rotgut in single combat, but he also had the chance to lure the entire army of Karak Azul into a pitched battle. With the entire weapon stores of the hold given to this costly battle, Queek had achieved the mission given to him, and upon his trophy rack would sit a new addition to his collection. Knowing about his scheming, Queek sought out the old warlord and made him pay for his manipulation. Warlord Sleek was able to, with the aid of Warpstone, to fight the head taker to a standstill before the grizzled warlord gave in to his tired old age. Sleek's severed head is now one of Queek's most prized possessions, so much so that Queek can still be seen talking to the old warlord, listening to his hard-earned advice. And now, onto Queek's character. You disappoint me, Queek. To be a Lord of Decay is not to stab and kill and smash all things aside. You lack circumspection. You are a killer, nothing more. From Warlord Nordwell, the Lord of Clan MORS. Queek's personality can be associated to that of a powder keg, unpredictable and dangerous. It was said that Queek could not be bribed, that he didn't care for threats, and that he led armies fearlessly from the front. Queek is an unnaturally fearless and bloodthirsty SKAVEN with an over-flattered ego to match. Queek considers himself the greatest warlord to have ever lived, as any self-respecting SKAVEN should. However, unlike many other SKAVEN warlords before him, Queek has been known to back up these claims as willingly as he is to boast about them, as shown with the many heads that now decorate his trophy rack. Indeed, Queek has shown an unnatural interest in both finding and fighting the strongest enemies he can find. From massive black orcs to dwarf thanes and rival SKAVEN warlords, Queek has fought and defeated each and every one of them. Alongside his infamy as a great warrior, Queek had also earned himself a reputation for madness. Queek has a disturbing affection for his collection of severed heads he keeps upon his trophy rack. Those that would dare to touch his prized possessions have had their paws cut off by Queek personally, At times, Queek has been seen talking to these heads when nobody else was looking, and at times, even when they were, as if the skulls themselves still retain the souls of those he decapitated in ritual combat, giving the Warlord advice on how to best destroy his enemies. Although Queek is a magnificent warrior, the Warlord hasn't been readily known for his cunning, if he has any at all. Queek is as thick as he is bloodthirsty, preferring a daring frontal assault rather than to use wiser and more efficient means of attack. In comparison to other SKAVEN, Queek dislikes scheming and intrigue of any kind, which is one of the great reasons why the Warlord has a great distrust of the politically minded Grey Seers. Even Lord Nordwell has expressed his disappointment to Queek's rather inept intellect for things other than fighting, often remarking that the Warlord is a dangerous yet blunt instrument. Due to his unnatural sense of self-worth and belief that he is the mightiest of all SKAVEN, Queek is enraged by those few warriors who have managed to defeat him. Warriors such as Gorfang Rotgut, Grimnar Halfhand, and Belegar Ironhammer are perhaps his most despised enemies because of this. Nevertheless, Queek's combat skill, coupled with his immense bravery and fearlessness in battle, has granted him many great victories. When Queek goes to battle, he is often accompanied by a retinue of crimson-armored storm vermin known as the Red Guard, which is led by his second-in-command, Scar Bloodtail, an unnaturally loyal and obedient SKAVEN that is larger than even Queek himself. Queek himself has a sort of loyalty for Scar, mourning his apparent loss, even renaming one of his storm vermin after him, and pursuing him when he finds out that Scar survived a knife to the heart. Sleek Sharpwit describes Queek's relationship as an unhealthy attachment, and indeed, Queek's affinity for Scar is used as leverage by Grey Seer Razzle. And at last, Queek Headtaker's legendary war gear, the Dwarf Gouger. He wields the magical maul Dwarf Gouger, an ancient weapon forged during the time of the Goblin Wars. The war maul is so powerful that few forms of armor are able to deflect its penetrating blow. And the Warp Shard armor. He usually goes to war with a suit of spiked plates encrusted with shards of pure warpstone, protecting him from harm whilst also harming those who try to harm him. Scar felt his musk glands try to clench, but he fought down the urge with a hissed breath and a shudder. He rose to his full height, feeling almost as massive in his Gromril armor. He took his axe in two paws and stared down the oncoming orc. The orc broke into a run, leaving the lesser green things behind him and driving tiny cracks into the long-suffering stones. Scar tried to ignore the vibrations trembling through his footpaws. He was Scar Bloodtail. He would win. Ska Bloodtail of Clan MORS is the right paw of Queek Headtaker and the Fang leader of Queek's elite, the Red Guard. He is considered dim-witted, brutish, and stupid. However, he is capable, loyal, and fearless by SKAVEN standards. Although his unmatched loyalty is by far his most defining feature. Ska has stood unflinching before one of the chosen of the Horned Rat, the Grey Seer Razzle, to protect Queek from malicious magic, taken a dagger in the heart to save Queek from a Clan Rictus ambush led by Fang leader Toskit, without thinking of his own well-being, and has also diligently shoved his warlord out of cave-ins, consequently exposing himself to the rubble. More important yet, he is still alive to protect his superior. He is what every SKAVEN wants in a lackey, but sorely lacks. Despite this, Ska Bloodtail is probably the only SKAVEN in the entirety of the Under Empire that has the strength of arm to command Queek's respect, the loyalty to ensure his trust and meekness to survive in his position as the underling of Queek Headtaker. Ska, break them! Called Queek, cutting down 2 more of the Black Orcs. Ska nodded, slammed the Black Orc out of the way, and leapt at their standard bearer. The Black Orc's metal icon wobbled in the air as Ska attacked, then fell. Ska Bloodtail is a fairly influential SKAVEN since he earned the trust of Queek, which is a powerful diplomatic tool and useful for intimidation. Although he is frightening in his own right without the threat of the Headtaker, he is sturdy, strong, and unusually large even for a storm vermin, standing as tall as a tall man, larger than Queek and even Lord Nordwell himself, further built into an almost geological immensity by the plates of Gromril he wears. Ska pieced together the scavenged parts of dwarfish rune metal himself in order to fit them around his monstrous frame. Despite his own glories and feats, Ska Bloodtail is most known for being Queek's lackey, a duty he was assigned to by his previous master and mentor, Lord Nordwell. Ska is always where his warlord is, with a ready claw pack of Red Guard at his disposal. With more than his share of battlefield expertise and many scars to show for it, Ska is also responsible for all military matters Queek should be doing as a warlord, such as recruiting troops and administering the verminous hordes that accompany him. In battle, he relays commands from Queek. He also keeps an eye on Queek's subordinates to make sure they don't think of betraying him. The first recorded major battle where Ska took part was when Queek Headtaker and Sleek Sharpwit led an army to sabotage the forges of Karak Azul. He was present during the battle as part of Queek's honor guard. In addition to this, when Queek led his army to battle the greenskins of Black Crag, Ska Bloodtail was tasked with making sure the Grey Seer Razzle died. During the hectic battle, he eventually had to give up on the frightening Grey Seer and engage the enemy with his storm vermin, if only to anchor the line long enough for Queek to retrieve King Cazador's kin. Through bloodshed and malice, Chieftain Ick Hackflay, an ex-lieutenant of Queek Headtaker, has risen through the hierarchy of Clan MORS. Ick was originally a member of Clan MORS's famed Red Guard. Here he earned Queek Headtaker's respect, at least as much as the Warlord could respect any SKAVEN. He was braver than most, and Queek was almost civil to him, bringing much prestige to Hackflay's name. With this favor, Ick was eventually able to leave the Red Guard to command his own claw pack of storm vermin. Ick became the Fang leader of the ill-equipped Rust Helms. When the Storm Vermin unit began to wreak its trail of destruction against Belegar Ironhammer, it was Ick that had led the looting of the Under Armories, stealing enough dwarf mail to rework their own patchwork protection. Soon enough, Ick led the renamed Iron Skins, and their ferocity and aggressiveness soon attracted the eye of Queek. The Headtaker now sought to induct Hackflay into his personal entourage. And now, the famous Red Guard. The Storm Vermin of the Red Guard were exceptional fighters, stand-out killers even amongst the massive SKAVEN army. In their long service to their warlord, they had taken sacred banners from iron breakers, brought down giants, and worn necklaces fashioned from the teeth of Black Orc commanders. The Red Guard, or Crimson Guard, are the personal Storm Vermin bodyguard regiments of Warlord Queek Headtaker. It took a fierce SKAVEN to survive the underground slaughterways of the City of Pillars, to join the most elite claw units of all of Clan MORS. A SKAVEN had to possess extraordinary strength, agility, and martial prowess. Queek Headtaker personally took part in the selection and training of his elite Red Guard Storm Vermin. He kept 10 claws of these troops, each 100 strong, as his personal force of bodyguards. In battle, the Red Guard served dutifully well as Queek's honor guard, or as the spiked fist of his assault force. Grand Warlord Vrmeek was the representative of Clan MORS during the time of the Black Plague, and would later become the Grand Supreme Warlord of all of Skavendom over the last period of the Skaven Wars. An especially large specimen, Vrmeek was also an albino. Vrmeek held great envy against Vecteek the Murderous, the representative of Clan Rictus, and holder of the 12th throne of the Council of 13. During the invasion of Karak Grashiak, the dwarf city underneath the Faustschlag of Middenheim, Clan Rictus sent Clan MORS to invade, hoping to weaken their rival while claiming the main share of the glory. Vrameek instead conspired with Clan Pestilence to secure his own victory. During the assault, the SKAVEN warlord was able to claim a runic weapon of the dwarves, the hammer Drakdraj, and then feigned defeat, which caused the army of Middenheim under Mundred von Zelt to return to the surface, assaulting the army of Vectique of Clan Rictus from behind. Following the defeat of Vectique, Vrameek became the Grand Supreme Warlord of Skavendom. In his new position, Vrameek was responsible for waging war against Mundred von Zelt, now renowned as Mundred Skaven Slayer. He tried to bait him during the siege of Averheim, but was thwarted. During that battle, Vrameek lost an ear through Legbiter, the rune fang of Middenland wielded by Mundred. Seeking revenge, and finding that most clans began to desert the cause as a rogue strain of the Black Plague began to infect their own, Vrameek sought to force a confrontation. In the howling hills of Hochland, the armies of the Skaven and the Empire fought for one last time in the Skaven Wars. Mundred smashed Vrameek's stolen and warpstone-infused weapon with Gul Miraz and ended the warlord's life. His skull was fashioned into the helm of the Skaven Slayer.